Well, if this were the jobs number, get those job numbers out of here. This market said, no, 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 we're coming back up. Let's talk about the rally right here with Joel Elconin. Guess what? We figured out an alternative. You guys let us know how it's working today. Always trying to make improvements, right?
All right, it is time for pre-market prep at the close.
3 consecutive highs, opened, matched yesterday's low, and then once it took out there, that's all the breakout momentum traders needed.
All right, Joel's joining me here.
Okay.
Everyone take a deep breath.
Yeah, we're not going to have my fancy
Clean.
charts.
Camera's looking good. I'm not losing your fit. You know, I like to see sometimes you get a little close up, right? A little close up of that Joel Elconin. All right, let's get towards the market. What did you see in the market today? Go through the rundown. Normally we would have his charts up at this point, but we're just going to go through the rundown, and then I'll bring up the SPY and the charts that I have.
Well, we never came near that pre-market low, and without my charts illustrating it, we did go green on the session. I think someone predicted that in the chat this morning. Double close area, 81 and a quarter, 81.75. We got a little bit through it, but overall, man, they bought the dip off the opening of the regular session. The dollar's in the red by 18 cents, 104.51, bounced off that 104 area again. TLT not having a bad day, up 75 cents at 106.51. Crude down a buck 05 at 80.17. Let's see if we can stay in that 80 handle. Gold rallies off its low. That's down 240 at 18.12.18. Silver, how many times are you going to see gold down 0.13% and silver up 2.67%? We might have to do some digging on that, Mitch. Maybe do look at the SI and see if we got any news on that. And Bitcoin kind of having a quiet day. They tested at 16,000, but just like the market, it's back up $135 at 16,955. And Ethereum, I don't know. Do we need we not talk about
I don't
Ethereum
think we need to
anymore?
talk about Ethereum anymore.
Maybe I'll take that off the board.
Yeah, I think it's time to remove it, Joel. I think we can just stick with the Bitcoin, and we'll talk about that when it comes back, right? Now, one thing I will say in the chat is Barat. Yes, I will tell you right now, Joel swims every day. That guy is a fish out there. And I've seen him in real life. The gun's hiding behind there. Trust me.
I do hit the weight room every once in a while to try and mix things up, but did it. I was in super early today. We're tailing off a little bit, Mitch. Just to alert our traders and investors that we did go green on the session.
What did we hit?
Falling back,
high?
we made a do. Oh, Mitch is starting to learn my tricks. We did take out that pre-market high only by a few ticks. So a good call on that one. And maybe we look at some of these stocks in a little bit. We can take a look at where we were at in comparison to the pre-market lows.
All right, let's get into some action here. Of course, we can take a look at some of the stocks that made moves. I'll keep it simple here. I'll use some of my charts. I'm going to change it up. I'll go back to those charts. I know those are Joel's favorites, but I like to do my scanners a little bit, and this is how I kind of make it work. And this shows us at least the leadership. Let's start off there. Let's keep it simple. Let's start off with Apple here. From the open, up about 8.84%. I think today is one of those days where it's important to kind of state what the percentage is from the open. And that shows us a little bit different tail here as Apple kind of got that nice push here towards 148. We'll see if it holds on. Green from the open, of course, still red overall.
Yeah, I wish I could show you my charts on this one. Because we got nowhere near the pre-market low on these things. We just nowhere near. Let me see, the pre-market low.
Oh yeah,
was under 145 and a half, closer to 145, and you just caught a bid right off the open. And then do we get unchanged in this one? The close from yesterday. Let me look at the close in Apple. The close was 148 and change, right? 148.21. Then we got to 148.
Joel, do you got something playing in the background there?
I don't know.
I hear something playing in the background there.
I'm trying. There. I'm just having all kinds of issues.
Hey, man,
I'll
I've
just
had
throw
that
that
type
out
of
the
week
window.
too, Joel. Don't worry. Guess what? Tomorrow's Saturday, baby. Tomorrow's Saturday. That's all I got to say. We'll get some football action. We'll recover from the weekend, but let's keep it going with some stocks. Let's get back towards the kind of main charts here. Let's take a look a little bit at Microsoft here. Microsoft also coming back towards that pre-market high. So it looks like a lot of charts were able to come back. Now the only question remained is that was this kind of just a dip to buy? It seems like Dennis had it right this morning that a lot of these stocks could just come back with the push. But let's go to some of the value names. I did want to take a look at some different stocks there. I don't know if you saw some value names and how they were performing today, but we can take a look here. We can just go to the defensives, and you can see they were up,
I
getting a
want
little
to.
bit of a
I want to
bounce.
talk about. Want
Where
to
do you want
talk
to go,
about
Joe?
Mr. Softy here for a second.
Yeah, let's do Softy.
Mr. Softy.
Yeah, I got it up.
And the reason I want to mention that is because you got one heck of a formation here for you traders. We did go green on the session here, and it looked a little nicer. Like I thought I might get a triple top in there, but it's only a double top. You're high on Wednesday, 55.33, and then you got the 56.12 yesterday. You got 56.08 today. Boy, oh boy, that's a big level. You are backing off. So next week, we'll be keeping a close eye. Double top there, real nice. 250, as I said, 56.12 and 56.06. As far as the pre-market action goes, as far as you never got to look at the pre-market low, just like you never got to look
Yeah.
at the pre-market low in the S&Ps. But another thing, I wish maybe we could have brought Rob on today, and something that we got to emphasize more. Maybe if we start staying on past 9:30. You had to open at 49.82, right? You went down 13 cents from that. So let's say you're short in the open, right? Well, one of the rules I would try to impress the traders, if you're doing something like off the open, you're taking position off the open, then you got to respect it. And it's one of the few times where maybe you want to reverse too, right? Now, today it would have worked out. A lot of times you get chopped up. But
Yeah.
even if you went short off the opening, you reversed at that 49.82, which was that opening price. And the reason I'm emphasizing the opening price is because there's a lot of liquidity, there's a lot of programs, there's a lot of things that go down algorithmic trading right off the open. So that's a breakdown of Mr. Softy there.
Yeah, I like the setup also on the 15 minutes. Of course, one of Joel's favorite charts, and it looks like a nice little bottoming action there that you could have at least also understood the risk, knowing that maybe even if you were going as far down as the 400, right, that gives you the opportunity to see the bounce, a couple highs right here to go off of. I like this candle right before the open, 9:15. You got a 402.06, so maybe you're thinking, okay, anything above that 402 like 25 area, I might have to get out. You could have reversed there, still giving you the opportunity to risk off the bottom there. Good reversal day there in the SPY. And the action, like you said, was right at the open. All right, let's go somewhere else. Where do you want to go now, Joel? I'll let you take lead a little bit. You put yourself on mute. There you go.
I did. I'm just trying to. How about
You're testing
let's
me.
run down our let's run down our earnings stocks.
Earning stocks, let's do that. All right, let me pull up my pre-market prep. Let's go to Ulta. Ulta was really one of the leading stocks, right? It just doesn't want to give up. And you can see here on the 15 minutes, it's still held after that pullback. Of course, yesterday it was ripping into the close because of their earnings. Now it's showing a little bit of topping, but this is still one of the strongest stocks. I would say that it's a little bit extended, so it could pull back a little bit. What do you see on the chart?
This one I didn't have a good level. I mean, if you were buying it yesterday's low. That's what I talked about on pre-market prep plus. You took some heat because it went a good $2 through it. When it came back up through there, once again, the old whoops trade that worked out well. The two highs are not that close to each other. I mean, not for a $500 stock. Two highs in the 478 handle, 7708 and 7792. So looking at that, you would have got filled at '08, but you wouldn't have been too happy when it went to 92. What I think Alta traders should be focused on here is it looks like you're going to have a double close there. And well, we still have 20 minutes left, but that all-time closing high was made yesterday at 472.53. You're back. It's kind of like a magnet price here, and we're trading at 72.16. So, just like that double close area in the SPOOs, I mean, yeah, you went 3-4 points beyond it. Now pulling back, you're gonna have a double close area. So I'd even add more significance to that on Monday than those actual that daily high of 77.92.
All right, let's keep going. Let's go to Marvell because it's definitely an important stock in the tech environment, right? We weren't able to cover it too much this morning. We did go running through it, but you guys can see this chart came back on the intraday, that's for sure. Got hit really hard. And I mean, the guidance was negative. It was bad on EPS, bad on sales. It missed and a miss on the EPS for their earnings. So this was just as bad as the report as you can get. Yet look at the price action from the open there. That tells you a lot on the day.
For this one, you did have some areas to key off. Once again, didn't get anywhere near that pre-market low. But on the dailies, if you go back last week, beginning of last week, you had two lows right in the lower 41 handle. You actually had another low at 40.85 on the 17th, and it found a home right in there. So open right into that area, battling back, not green yet on the session. The other thing that you talked about on days like this, if you're looking for an exit, a reversal, an exit point, today it worked out, right? You got to the bottom, almost to the bottom of yesterday's range. Still some time left here. The bottom of yesterday's range, 44.83. So far, the high, 44.79. So some people that were holding to the report were hoping for the mark. They're wiggling out just to that area. Doesn't look like this one's going to get green on the session. You'd have to get the 45.40.
There you go. I got your level right there. You see, Joel? This little teamwork action. I got you. We're getting this going here. All right, Marvell. We'll see what happens with this one. Monthlies at least don't look too bad. I can at least say that you at least have some support below. If it can just hold sideways here, maybe actually flip this candle, then it wouldn't be too bad, at least in the monthly sense, right? So we just got a brand new candle for the month. Let's see if we can get it back through that high. That's 47.34. If it can get back through there, it won't look too bad, at least from my eyes on the monthly. All right, let's keep going. Let's go towards the next stock we can take a look at. Let's do that AVXL and maybe take a look at some of the healthcare. Of course, that Alzheimer's drug getting approved, cognitive function, meeting its main goal for the trial. AVXL was a stock that we were going to watch today. A level that I gave, I was looking for 12, maybe being the pullback. It looked like it went a lot further than that. It did find some bounce eventually, kind of around 1086, low on the day here. That was at 10 a.m., 1066. So not looking too bad here, but we can also kind of look at the bigger stocks, right? Kind of take a look at those. Look at Eli Lilly. Did this give you an opportunity on that dip? As we can see, it kind of closed towards the high. Wasn't a bad outlook there. And then also Biogen. That one did get a bounce. It's not closing the best, but let's go to Lilly since that was kind of the better chart. We can talk.
First one, let's just for this First
Yeah,
one
you
for this
got.
AVXL.
Let's run through it.
And yep, Atomex Life Sciences. They got real over down in the pre-market. That thing got to almost 1475. But if you could have blocked out that pre-market action, and you got to think about how people got stuffed on this on Monday, right? And you got all the way back. You had a daily high at 13 and a quarter. You opened 1257. You went to 1323. So you couldn't quite get that 13 and a quarter, but I think after it hit that area and started to pull back, like report on candles like this on the dailies, unless you're really drilling in short-term charts, I think it's hard. But let's see. I'm just curious. 1191. You know what? Going back here, before this thing fell out of bed on the 25th, a week ago Friday, you had to close at 1189. So everyone gets their losses back here. I think you got to establish a bid. Over these two closes, maybe establish a 12 bid, or else you may be in danger to come back and fill in this gap. But what a wild stock. Eli Lilly, nice day in this one. I like to see how it traded off the open. Yeah, went down a buck through the open, but came back up through it. What do you have here? The interesting thing about Lilly is, and I've seen this happen before, you're not getting a new all-time high, at least not yet. 75.19 was your all-time high yesterday. But you're going to get a new all-time closing high, and all we have to do is close above 371.08. That's all you have to do to get an all-time closing high on that. So that's what we'll be focusing on in Eli Lilly. Biogen is getting whipped around pretty good
Be-
too.
Before you give
Two
Biogen,
lower
I
highs.
want to give one level there on Eli Lilly. Sometimes I
Sure.
draw a lot of trend lines on hourlies, and I look for hourly support tests. And what this does is, a lot of times in my eyes, for the psychology of the trade, is that a lot of retail gets washed out because they're using, their 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute charts out the open. They don't see the deeper time frame pullback. And then, of course, it comes back to kind of those hourly lows. You can catch it on a better risk to reward outlook and maybe ride it up, even up towards the hourly resistance, like a trade like this on Eli Lilly, where the trend line all week long came into play, giving you multiple opportunities to play off that trend line on the hourly. And that's why I love the hourly so much. And that's why I love when Joel uses the hourly charts. And it gave me even more insight into hourlies that, a lot of charts don't get used because they're kind of more in the shorter time frame. But the hourlies, I love those support tests. It came right towards that support at 8 p.m. 365 went towards 365 10 a.m. right on the kiss. All right, let's go
Yeah,
to
and this
Biogen.
one you did. This Okay. Biogen. The only thing I don't like about this chart is two lower highs. You made that high of the move on Wednesday, and you're falling back over the last couple sessions. So looks like you had a breakout. Now it's kind of turning it into a fake out. I'd be more interested in this if it can get back down to that gap area, and that would be at 293.97. Currently trading 98.24. But definitely someone over the last 3 days working out of a chunk of stock, not going for the breakout in Biogen.
One thing I can see on this one is that it kind of did a little bit of a gap fill on the daily, and it held it pretty well. You can see it here, like right on the daily here, top
Here.
right chart.
Yep.
And so you can see that
Yep.
kind of gap fill, and then it held that gap fill. I kind of like those charts, especially when it looks kind of weird there. What I mean by weird, it's not really a bullish looking chart, right? It doesn't look bullish because there's a lot of wicks there. But the closing, getting above that area now, I would look for maybe that acting as support and look for maybe a push towards the resistance. Not a bad outlook after it pulled back.
It worked this time, right?
Yeah.
It worked
it
this
did.
time. You had the gap fill, so I think that's a good setup. I'd keep an eye on that for BIIB.
All right, we'll continue moving here. Let's go to Tesla. What happened? Semi truck? We didn't get a chance to even talk about the semi truck this morning. What do you think about the semi truck, Joel?
I didn't get a
I'm
chance to talk
fishing.
about much this morning. Uh, you know me. One truck. I when I saw it before, it was pretty ugly. Um, this had a good week, right? The only thing you could have been looking at is this psychological $200 level and get there. The high last week was 198.92. So this is a good week for the market, and a good week for Tesla. Moving up, I'd say I think that become a little more aggressive on the long side if in fact it can get well into over 200. And what I mean by that is 200.82. That was your high on the 15th. Lower highs just not the Tesla chart of old.
Oh, I made a mistake trading today, and sometimes you got to admit when you make mistakes. It wasn't really because I made an executional mistake like while I was doing it. It was more a mistake not being prepared for the open. I had set a protective stop on my swing trade on Tesla, and I was like kind of busy with some Benzinga things, just kind of working in the background, and I missed the open, forgot it was set, and it just stopped me out, and it ran for 2 points after that. Oh, one of those things that, hey, sometimes you live and you learn. And I love to admit sometimes when I make mistakes, because, hey, no one's perfect out there. We all make mistakes. I made a mistake today. Cost me. I'll learn from it. Let's keep going. Let's take a look. ENPH. Let's go to solar. I saw it getting a nice little lift in the ENPH. I know you guys wanted to talk about it. I wasn't going to miss it, team. I saw you in the chat. Let's go towards it.
Mm,
ENPH, solar stocks taking another push. ENPH, such a monster.
wow. I don't know what to tell you this one, guys. I mean, if you were buying it yesterday's low, you had one heck of a trade. Um, Way up today. I'm not going to try and give you a target on. There's just no number that I can give you on the upside.
There is
Um,
no number.
if you want to, when there is no numbers, there's no numbers. A comfortable spot now. If you could have taken that dip off the open, maybe move your stop up to. I wouldn't wait for 310 right now. Look at the way it had a triple top just above 320. Right. Let's call it 324. That's still even $10 away. So move a protective stop up there. I mean, 334. Why not? Why not 350? But good day for ENPH, and then this is big volume day also. So we'll just keep an eye on whatever that close is today, because that will be the old time closing high. First solar shot. Ooh, look at that chart, Mitch. What's jumping out to you like a sore thumb on this one?
That hourly towards 165.
What
That
about
was a nice
you're
little.
always looking at support, and I'm always
I,
looking
I
at
buy at
resistance.
weakness, Joel. I buy on weakness.
What
I
about on the
sell
top,
on
Mitch?
strength.
So
I sell on strength.
what would you have been looking at today to sell
Yeah, 173. There you go, right there at the
at?
top.
Yeah,
173.68 especially. And you get right there to
three in a row.
173.60. Yeah,
The
three in a
three
row.
tops.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that a 5 star?
it is. It is. You're
Uh-oh.
getting
We got
good.
a five
How did
star.
and we didn't file the stars on shop because it got
Ooh.
to. Remember we talked about 40. And then the
Mm-hmm.
other thing too is like when I get and I give Manuel Costa's on it here. When I give you these like when I give you a 3 star on something, I say that's 3 star resistance. What you all got to do is traders and investors is look at it both ways, right? Because if it's 3 star resistance, what happens if it gets through there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing
Yeah.
that, and I know Dennis mentioned it one day this week, and I think the stock was Wayfair, and he played it on. Wow, Wayfair, look at that. He
Wayfair.
played the stock both ways. He bought it, and then it rallied up, and then that's hard to do because you don't want to have regrets, right? Like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm long, I sold it, I'm out of my long, now I'm short, now I'm underwater. I should have kept long. You gotta, I mean, I think that's one thing. Of course, he's trading the after hours and the order flow. Yeah, Jay, I know. Peloton up 8 days in a row. You know what? Maybe if it goes up another 8 days, it will be back to
It's
Lisa's initial entry price. I can't, it was low, I think, but what's going on? Is there news
who
on the
knows?
ton? What's going on? No,
I don't know.
nothing.
Maybe it's a Santa Claus type of rally type of stock, you know? Maybe some people are picking up some Pelotons for Christmas. Who knows? I'll take a look. I'm looking at it right now. Looks like there were some call sweeps. Yeah, there's been some call sweeps
Okay.
lately. So it looks like some option activity. That's what I would point to. Ooh, looks like the Peloton
Hey,
lawsuit
is pot getting
dismissed.
hot again?
Looks like there was
Oh, he
a
all
lawsuit that got dismissed, but you know how that goes. Lawsuits, I don't get into them. Peloton
yeah,
lawsuit that
it
was
does.
dismissed. Maybe that
Does
gave it the lift. Who knows? 12:45 is when that hit.
Chris Gerard, Chris Gerard saying you can't rent the bikes now. I mean, is that
You
because you
can't
can't
rent them
rent
now?
it, or
No, can't you
I
affirm it?
don't know if it, man.
Can't you buy
Oh
now, pay
boy, oh
later?
boy.
Oh man, the good
Uh,
old affirm. Good old affirm. It's trying to come up actually
let
right
me
now.
take a let's see. Let's take a look at Affirm. Boom for you Affirm traders here. Up, dude. Matching range days. You could have bought yesterday's low and only took 3 cents a heat. You wouldn't quite have got a chance to sell yesterday's high, but you might, because we're trading at 1456. The high is 1460. I don't know where you're expecting this to go if it gets through there, but I'd say it's got some room up to 1529. That was your November 18th high. Little bit of a sell off here, but the Bulls are trying desperately to make this a green session. Don't know if they're going to be able to do it. We got 4 minutes heading into that closing bell.
Interesting. I like it. All right, we'll take a look there. Let's go towards some stocks from the chat. You guys just keep dropping some. I saw Unity mentioned. I thought this was an interesting chart. Has continued the daily trend, and I think this is one of those stocks that, man, if you just kind of stick with one, sometimes they do well, and this one's done really well. Broke out of that point this week where we got back above these highs, especially this Tuesday, November 15th high, which was 3680. Once we got above that, been looking good. Now I think it's going to be the battle at 40. We got through it today.
We did. I'd be keeping an eye on 4253 moving forward. That was your September 12th high. That was your PPI data high, too. And you got to 4224. Wow, this is, wait, what happened? Oh, that's just my cursor moving. So keep an eye on that. That 4250, 4240, 4250 area. That's going to be sticking moving forward. Chris did. Boom, boom, low PE stock, nice move back over 50 yesterday, down back today. 50 is a big level, folks. You get some sustained closes over 50. You got another leg higher. You had a high going back in August, 50 right on the kisser. You today you got up to 5040, or not today, yesterday 5046. Not only do you want to see it like trade over that 50 intraday, but you want to see it like trade up enough for it come and acts as support. So that's what I'm looking at for Cisco. I've had this one for years. I don't probably will keep it for years more. Not a great performer, but back up there. I guess when I got near 65, that was a pretty good sell. But good day, off the high for the week, and that's it, Mitch. We couldn't get green, but I think
We're
it was one
done.
hell of an effort by the Bulls today. The Bulls. But that's it. I think that do we have a possible cure for Monday here, Mitch, with this kind of setup? Chad,
I
how
mean,
was it? Did I break up a lot today?
not bad. Now, one thing I can tell is what we talked about, Joel. I think we're right. I think we're right, my friend.
Uh,
So
yeah. Yep.
we're right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
At least this experiment right here showed it to us. And another thing that I think it showed it to us is that chat. I told you, team, we'll battle through this. We'll get Joel through this. He'll be back. We'll get him at. All right. You guys enjoy your weekend. Have a
Go
great
blue.
one. Stay safe. Go,
Go
blue.
blue.
Go Fins.
Beat the
We'll see.
Boilermakers.
We'll see. Fins over 49ers. We'll have to find out. And go USA. USA tomorrow versus the Netherlands. Can they get through it, Joel? I want to hear you say it. USA. USA. Send us
I
off,
heard
Joel.
little rumor when I was, and probably other people have heard this, that the flu is going through the Netherlands team. And a lot of,
Oh,
yeah, so that could be a bullish sign.
no.
So everyone, be kind to your friends and relatives, even if you don't like them, and have a great weekend.
Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week.